Hello everyone, welcome to Affordable Farming in the Philippines. So this is the long-awaited and much anticipated second quarter profit and loss for the farm here. So this encompasses April, May, and June. Okay, that's what we're going to call the second quarter. And this is all sales and all expenses here on the farm. Now these numbers are going to be a little bit different than what they would have been or what they may be moving forward in the future. As many of you know, but some of you may not be aware, Consing and Ippy no longer work here on the farm. And so the lessening of the labor expense, the lowering of the labor expense was due to that, and that basically we had one employee for the month of March. And going into April. So, because of Fiesta and just other things. So, now look, moving forward, look, we basically have two full-time employees, Tatai and Jinjin, Marcel's cousin Jinjin. So, their salaries together would be 5,750 pesos per week. So, 23,000 pesos per month, which would be, just call it 70,000 pesos per quarter, which is very close to what this quarter ended up being. So the labor expenses will probably never be less than like 70,000, because Tatai and Jinjin will be full time. Tatai more so than Jinjin, but we may occasionally have additional employees for whatever, an extra harvest or something. So the labor expenses are pretty much firm and forecastable now from this point moving forward. Sales up and down. There's a fairly large block of sales in this quarter, and it's probably going to be in next quarter as well, but will probably not be in the fourth quarter, and those are pigs. So we sold a pig for slaughter and sold another pig here recently, and that was over 30,000 pesos. And of course, it's a sale from the farm, so it's included in the gross sales. I've broken this down a bit by particulars. Now on the vegetables, not exactly each vegetables. While we do have those records, I'm not gonna include them here because it's just too much. So while I anticipate the sales going up, because in the next quarter we'll have a strong showing on the squash in particular, and an ever increasing amount of bananas. There's going to be a big, hopefully a big boost to sales because our sow is getting really close to giving birth. And if she has and raises 10 piglets and we manage to sell them all, well, that's 30,000 pesos right there, 35,000 actually, because the going rate now is 4K, and we'll probably get 35. So, and we're going to sell that sow as well. If we just sold her for meat, it would be close to 20K. Hopefully we can find a home for her to where she can be a sow. But if not, she's going to be sold for meat. So that's potentially $50K right there, just from the pigs that will probably not show up. Well, it will not show up in the fourth quarter. But for the third quarter, that's where we're at. Okay, so second quarter sales. These are going to include some sales that are we don't anticipate having, well, that we do anticipate having next quarter, but not the quarter after. A good number of this, a good portion of these sales are from pigs that we sold that we didn't even think we were going to be selling. But the gilt that we had that wouldn't breed, and this latest gilt that we're selling to Mike and May are added into this because it's already done. So the vegetable sales, I didn't break down per vegetable other than the bananas, because there's nothing special in any of those. So this is broken down into pigs, vegetables, all of them except for the bananas and fish. Those are the things that we sold. So the pigs, the sales from the pigs were 30,250 pesos. Now next quarter, we'll probably, our sow is getting really close to having piglets, and so we'll hopefully get, I don't know, from the piglets and selling the sow as well, we could probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of 50,000 pesos if she has a decent sized litter. So we'll see. And that would be in next quarter, not this one, but not in the fourth quarter because we'll be pigless. So 30,250 for the pigs. Excuse me. The vegetables, 40,210. And this is the okra, the beans, the peppers, all of that. Was 40,210. And the bananas I've kept separate because, like I say, they're the single biggest source of revenue in the vegetable lane, let's say. So that was 13,974 pesos. That was just the bananas. And I would anticipate that increasing, not a lot. It's like a slow-moving train. It's got to pick up speed. But we are planting bananas all the time now. And so it does take a while for them to produce, 10 months to 10 to 14 months before you get bananas. So it's going to be a while, and a lot of those were just planted, and a lot of the bananas we have we're just now really starting to take care of them to get them to produce. So it's not going to be like an overnight thing. So a little breezy here. I have to shut this window. So the fish sales were 1,000 and what is it? This is Marcel's writing, so it's, I think that says 1,070 pesos. So that gives us a grand total of 85,464 pesos. I hope my math is right. Adding all this up. I don't remember what the sales were. I think the sales were actually higher in the first quarter, but I didn't compare numbers before I started this video. Not colossal sales by any means, but we're selling stuff. And I'm not, let's say I'm not displeased, okay? Keep in mind that we We did get some harvests from field 6, but basically, and the large corn patch we had down there. Basically, all this, the vegetable side of it was from field 4 and field 5. Those are really the only fields that have been in continuous production for the last 2 quarters. So 2 out of the 6. And we will never know what that would have been with all 6 of the fields producing row crops. But it just, as I've said before, it got to the point to where we couldn't find enough reliable labor to keep those fields going. And so we've changed course a bit to all those fields will eventually be bananas and squash. High producing, high yield, non-labor intensive crops. And that's the direction that we're going now. So, expenses. Salaries. Now, these expenses, so I anticipate moving forward the salaries being give or take about 70,000 pesos a month, and or a quarter, and those are pretty much set. I mean, that's Tatay and Jinjin, and an occasional extra here or there or somewhere. I would not anticipate it going over 75,000 pesos per quarter. Not now. Maybe later when a lot of harvesting is taking place, but not now. So salaries, 61,200 pesos. That was the outlay for salaries. That's Tatay, Jinjin, and Consing and Ipi in varying degrees of cost for Consing and Ipi. Nerio, a few days. The pond, I mean, it was just, some extras in there. 61,200 all total on that. Fertilizer was 2,400 pesos. It was basically the 1 sack of fertilizer that we used. The corn takes, you got to fertilize it. You got to get nice ears out of it. You got to fertilize it, and a good bit of that. All those fields down there were fertilized, and more than half of that expense on fertilizer was for the area with the bananas and that has the squash growing in it now. Because once we cleaned that area, we fertilized the crap out of those banana trees, and we fertilized fairly heavily around where the squash were to be planted. And so that used up a half a sack of fertilizer right there. And we have another sack, just bought a sack this month. So we have plenty of fertilizer, and it's going to be used as liberally as needed where needed. Seeds. Now, for the most part, the only seeds that we bought in this quarter, I did buy some tomato seeds and some pepper seeds, but the vast majority of the seeds were the squash. The corn seed we had. Well, we had the yellow corn seed. I think I paid 1,100 peso for the half of kilo of the purple corn. Seeds, 3,000 pesos, and insecticide, which you just can't get away from here, was 1,000 pesos. So expenses, all in, were 67,600 pesos. And I didn't include any gas for deliveries because it's just Tatay's motorcycle. Maximum, that would be a couple hundred pesos, maybe 300. We'll just call it 500. For a nice round number, we'll call it 400. So 68,000 pesos in expenses. And if I'm going to add 400 to that, then I've got to take 400 off of this. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 4. Okay, so the net, the profit after everything for this last quarter was 12,464 pesos, which is the best quarter we've had so far. And I think a lot of that is due to decreased labor cost. And so moving forward, as sales further increase, I think this is doable. It is a viable plan, a doable option. And look, 12,000 pesos isn't much in the grand scheme of things, okay? It's not even $80 a month. But in our situation, so we made a profit, even though it was small. That is such a huge turnaround from this farm costing money to operate every month, every quarter, every day, whatever you want to figure it, which has been the scenario in the past. So that means what YouTube income that we have can be used for us for a change. So at least this farm is not only paying for itself now, but we're making a little bit of money off of it. And I think next quarter we're going to make a fairly substantial amount. And I think the fourth quarter, we're off to the races. The squash will be in heavy production by then, and we shall see. So that's the net profit, 12,464 pesos. Not a lot, but a profit nonetheless. And things are looking up and getting better every day. Things are getting better. I am incredibly relieved and optimistic about how things are going to progress here. And I do think that this is a template that could be done by others who would so desire to do so. And that's the whole reason for our YouTube channel, is to document our journey and to show real time, real facts, warts and all, of what is possible in the Philippines. And so I hope that what we do is informative and beneficial to people who watch. That's it, folks. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.